All right, progressing through settings. The next one's basically going to be how you're integrating with the billing. So if you think about the billing settings, you're creating a number of session credits available for each one of your billing cycles, right? So if you're billing somebody every 2 weeks, for example, and you're giving them a total of 4 training credits, every 2 weeks, that will refresh. So the question then is, what happens if they don't use all 4 of them? Let's say they only come 3 times and they have one remaining. So we have our session credit rollover. So one, obviously you can say there is no rollover, which basically is a use it or lose it. If they're billed every 2 weeks, they get 4 credits. They don't use all 4 credits, session credits, they are gone. And the next bill gets updated and they get 4 more credits, right? So you also have the option to allow a rollover and basically set up 2 scenarios. One is that there's a rollover with no cap, basically meaning that they'll just keep aggregating. So if you got somebody who doesn't show up for 8 weeks, they're effectively going to get just an aggregate number of sessions. Was a total of 8, 4 times 8, no, 4 times 4, so 16 session credits. So there's no cap there, right? Or we can do a rollover capped. It's explained down here. So basically, the session credits won't exceed twice the billing cycle credit. So if you're giving 4 session credits every 2 weeks, the maximum they can accrue is a total of 8. Okay, so they can only roll over twice the total of their build period. So those are your choices on that. Next one is in that same scenario. So let's say they use their 4 credits and they want to come to a 5th training session before their next billing. So are you going to allow them to schedule without a credit, or separately, they want to schedule a session that they don't have credits for at all? So like they want to do a personal training type scenario, right? So you can say no to that and it's just not allowed, but you can always, again, as a staff member, manually put somebody into a session and train them. So this is really just around what happens with primarily when a client is interacting with scheduling. So you can set that to yes. Booking is allowed with a purchase, so they can purchase that credit, or you can allow them to borrow from a future billing period, right? So let's say they use 5 this 2 week period. The next 2 week period, they're only going to have 3 available instead of 4 because they used that one in this initial 2 week period. So that would be the future credit. The purchase option basically means they purchased that 5th session credit, and when their billing rolls around, then they would have 4 at that point. So those would be your selection options there. And then lastly, session credit interchange. So a couple of settings. One is there's no interchange, which basically means if they have a credit for personal training, it's only good for personal training. If they have a credit for boot camp, it's only available for boot camp. If they have a session credit for yoga, which may be in the same category as boot camp, it's still only available for yoga. So this is going to be the most restrictive. No interchange at all. The next most restrictive is going to be, or sorry, less restrictive is going to be category only. So if we put boot camp and yoga as an example in a large group category, and those 2 credits, so basically they can use boot camp for yoga or yoga for boot camp. They're interchangeable, but they could not use those credits for personal training because personal training is going to be in its own category, or it should be when you set it up. So that would be category only. And then your most lenient here is that a credit's a credit. Doesn't matter what kind of sessions you're running. If you do yoga and personal training and they have 4 session credits, they can do 4 personal training, or they can do 4 yoga sessions. So that's kind of however you want to configure that particular item. So again, once you've resolved that, you'll get a summary of what your program's going to look like. Select that just to save your work, and that'll take care of that.